Hello, everyone. This presentation shares the results of the People's Choice for 2023 survey. We promise to share the results or reports with the people, especially for those who participated in the survey. In order to manage the presentation time, only the key or major findings and notes from the survey will be presented here. Other relevant details are provided in the full reports that's already published in the GUBERNATORIAL Africa website. So this is the outline of the survey. So the outline of the presentation. First, we will be looking at the aims and objectives of the survey. Then look at the methodology. Like we said, we don't mean to present the full report or details of this, so we just kind of scan through it just for you to have an idea of what happened for those who didn't participate. Then after that, we'll be looking at the disclaimer and caution. We have to present this to help you put you in the right framework in your interpretations and how you use the findings. Okay, so we just need to mention that. And after that, we'll look at the results and findings. And under the results, we'll be looking at the demographic information of the participants, then nominees to contest for the president and vice president's office. Then we'll also be looking at the ranking and rating of the nominees. That's the president and the vice president, or the running mates. Then we'll look at the state's distribution of the participants who nominated each of the presidential candidates. Then we also want to present the preferred running mates. That's the vice president for each of the presidential candidates. Okay, so then we'll look at the nominees to contest for the legislative offices and their ratings, and the nominees to contest for the gubernatorial offices and their ratings. Then lastly, we look at the civic power status and barriers challenging the participants. Okay, and we'll just finalize with what next moving forward from this survey. Okay. So by way of background, okay, the idea of this survey came up when we know what the current delegation or the delegation system is in the country. So we're trying to see how we can compare and contrast what could be the people's nominees or the people's choices for those who could contest for the political offices against what the current delegation system is, provided by the political parties. So rather than making some subjective propositions of what is right and what should it be, so we decided to come up with this survey to actually sample people's opinions and compare what their preferences are to what the current delegation system by political parties is. So that is the first objective of this survey and the key. Then the second one is just to evaluate the readiness and willingness of the citizens to be involved in the electoral processes for 2023. And again, to encourage preliminary participatory actions among the citizens toward the electoral process for 2023. Now, like the methodology, like I mentioned, there's not much to say here, but just the glimpse of it. Just to let you know that it's an online survey. Questionnaires were designed and published online. The sample size actually was determined using Yemeni's formula, but you'll get a lot of the details in the full reports and how that was done. And the reports the results. Then it's also a survey. The survey link was administered through social media, through WhatsApp, Facebook, GUBERNATORIAL Africa websites, and we used what we call organic promotion. Organic promotion is when the primary audience are encouraged to share with their friends and social media groups. Here we tried promoted media, but for some reasons which we mentioned under the limitation of the survey, and to discuss that couldn't happen, so we're just limited to using organic promotion. Then the survey was just about 6 weeks, from 13th of April to 27th of May. The idea was for this to happen before party primaries, so to avoid any form of influence from post-primaries campaign from parties. So just want to know what people think, before the parties would turn out their nominees and the main campaign will start. So for validity, it's good we state this clearly, that the outcomes of this survey did not actually meet our scientific standards for some reasons, which you will know later. And again, we try to maintain a high level of data and analysis integrity to avoid any form of empirical bias within the control of the researchers. And then the findings were generated with high level of organizational integrity that Digital Africa is known for. All right. So that's the assurance given to you. Okay, so the disclaimer and caution here is that we just want to let you know, whatever be the findings and the outcomes you're going to see later, the findings in this report are actually the opinions of the people who participated in this survey and not the views or opinions of Digital Africa or any of its partners, right? So just to make that clear, then the findings only suggest possible realities and do not confirm any reality in Nigeria. Again, the findings rather represent the opinions of the participants and may not represent the views of the Nigerian people. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's look at what the results and findings are. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, the sample size was very small. That didn't meet our expectations. However, we take it as the pilot because this is the first of its kind that's happening. We've learned a lot of lessons and we're going to improve on this. However, the total of the participants that nominated at least one person or one candidate in any of the offices were 12. Okay, so the same 12 were for presidents. However, after some cleaning process and removing some duplicates and some erroneous entries, we are down with 107 for presidents or presidential nominations, right? Then for the federal legislative, we have 9, quite small, and the gubernatorial we have 8. However, we decide to present them as they are. Okay. Now, the demographic characteristics of the presidential nominees, nominators or participants for presidential nominations. So here you can see that so for the sex, majority were male, up to 83%. For the age, majority between 31 to 50, though it cuts across other ages, but you can see this is where you have the main population for the age groups. You're fairly young and about a bit of the elderly generation, but the highest here is actually between 41 to 50 years of age. Okay, at 41%, and you have total as 107. That's the sample size for presidents. Then here you have the states that the participants came from. That's their states of origin. So you have a total number of 27 states that actually participated, or the origin or the nominators or participants came from. Okay, out of 36 or plus 1, 37, on the federation. Okay. Now, these are the list of presidential and vice presidential nominees. Okay, so the first, just in alphabetical order, no other order, just alphabetical order. So you have Abdullahi Usman Doma, Madamu Aliyu, for presidential nominees, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Danlami Elisha Madugu, sorry, I hope I got it well, and Dr. Chris Ngige, Dr. Favour Ayodele, His Royal Highness Sanusi Lamido, Major General Hamzat Al-Mustafa, Mohammed Sambo, Mr. Pitobi, Mohammed Yusuf, Mweze David Omahi, Pastor Tunde Bakare, Professor Emio Sibanjo, Professor Babagana Zulum, Rotimi Admechi, Chibike Amechi, Saratu Isa, Senator Bala Mohammed, and Sheyi Makinde, Yahya Bello, and Yusuf Danjuma. And these are the running mates nominees. Suggested by the participants, maybe in interest of time, so I wouldn't read them all, but you can, if you have the full report, you have them there, and you can take your time to go through the list as it is. Okay, so for nominees for presidential contest and their rankings and ratings. Okay, so you have their list. This time around, they're now ordered, in the order of counts, number of nominations. So what it means that these are the number of nominations received by each of the presidential candidates, and that is the order of the of this list right now. Then you find their ratings here, and the ratings, the character ratings, like as described here, is the average rating between 1 to 5, that is 1 the least and 5 the highest. So the rating of all the leadership character elements and qualities rated by the nominators as listed in the survey form. And these characters include integrity, empathy, selflessness, or ability to make sacrifices, national patriotism, humility, technical competence, education, courage, tolerance for diversity, and zero tolerance for corruption. Okay, so when you look at the list, you see the first person here is the Mr. P2B with 55 nominations and the rating 4.52. Professor Emi Osibanjo 17, Bola Ahmed Tinubu 11 with 3.8. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is 4 nominations with 3.9. Dr. Favour Ayodele 2 nominations with 5, rating, and you have the rest with just one nominations, and you can find their ratings here. Then let's look at the state's distribution of the nominators among the presidential nominees, and here we just considered just the first 5 presidential nominees, those with nominations above more than 1 nominations, and these are their states. And this state means these are the participants. This is the states of origin, the number of states that the participants represent, that their nominators represent. So for P2B, the nominations came from representatives or participants from 18 states, where Professor Yemi Osibanjo 11 states, Bola Ahmed Tinubu 3 states, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar 4 states, and Dr. Favour Ayodele 2 states. Then you can check the full report for the complete and other related information, and you can also find some interesting information in the reports, like the lists, the actual list or names of the states that make up the state counts for each of the nominees. So, for example, for P2B, you would find the number of states. Sorry, not the number of states, the actual list of states or names of states that that the participants or his nominators come from. So you can see how much it cuts across the states or nationwide. The same thing for Professor Yemi Osibanjo and so you find actually the states, the actual states in the main report. Then the sex and age distributions of the nominators for each of the nominee, you also find in that report. So here you just want to know the age distributions or the sex distributions of each, maybe whether more males or more females, or what age that's voted more, nominated, provided more nominations for each of the candidates here. So you find that in the full report, but just for time, just to give you an idea of what the findings or the report, the results are. So these are this is the nominees for vice presidential. So the running mates suggested and their ratings. So you have so by reordering by the counts or the number of nominations. So you have Professor Babagana Zulum tops the list with 10 counts, followed by Honorable Yakubu Dagora, Aminu Tambuwal 5, and Mr. P2B 3, Rabiu Kwankwaso 2, Senator Smart Adeyemi 2, and the rest with 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So you can take your time to look at that. And like I said, the character definition, the character rating definition remains the same. Then preferred running mates for each of the presidential candidates. So what happens here is that the participants were asked to nominate the presidential candidates and also suggest who they want to be their running mates. And these were the suggestions by the accounts of nominations. So for P2B, you have Alhaji Dankwambo, Aminu Tambuwal, Donald Duke, Nuhu Ribadu, Professor Babagana Zulum, Rabiu Kwankwaso, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, and Senator Smart Adeyemi. So the missing here, just for the sake of interpretation, when you read the full reports or what it is, and the missing here means these are the participants or the nominators that did not suggest or nominate any running mates for the presidential candidates. So it's it's indicated as missing, but these are the ones that suggested. So, and these are the list. So you have 1339 missing here. For Yemi Osibanjo, you have Malam Nasir El-Rufai, Mr. P2B, Professor Babagana Zulum, then also missing 11. For Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you have Yakubu Dagora, missing 2. Alhaji Abubakar, you have Mr. P2B suggested, and 2 people suggested Mr. P2B for him, and 2 missing, and the rest for Dr. Favour Ayodele, no nomination for vice president. So for nominees for legislative offices 2023 and their ratings, so here you can find there's just 9 people that did this, and majority just about 4 of them from 59 to 40 years of age. Okay, for the age group, these are the states that they come from. 4 from Osun State, you have Oyo, Taraba, 111, Abia, Imo, and Nasarawa State, making up the 9. For the distribution here, sex distribution, they are all males, no female. Okay, and here you find their local governments, if you want to see that. Then these are the nominees and their states of origin. So like here you have Bamidele Adeleke from Osun State, and the number of counts to 1 person, suggesting that nominating him for Senate, and the character rating is 4.60 or 4.6, sorry. Then Dr. Adewopo, sorry, I hope I got that clear. Oh well, from Osun State, 3 nominations from Osun State, nominating him for House of Representative, and the character rating. So the same for all of them here. Okay, so we'll move to the nominees for gubernatorial offices and ratings. Okay, so for this, you have a total of 8 people that participated here. Age between majority, or most of them, not majority, most of them are, that's 4 of them from 18 to 30 years, and you have the rest here. Majority, yeah, are male, sorry, 75% of them, that's about 6 of them are male, while the rest female. And these are the states that they come from: Anambra, Enugu, Imo, and the rest. Then these are the nominees for gubernatorial offices for these states of their origins and their counts and their character ratings. So here I have Chukwuma Ephraim Okenwa, Dotun Babayemi, Emeka Ihedioha, Obasani Victor Bala Kona also, and these are states and their ratings as well. So for civic power, status, and the barriers. So the first question there under this section was, they were asked if they had their PVCs. And clearly, like I said, this is the reflection of the reflection of the participants, not of the country. Please, I just want to emphasize that again. So, but for the participants, 70% did not have a PVC, or 83%, thankfully, indicated that they had PVC. Well, so among those who do not have PVC, reasons why they have not gotten their PVCs. You have the reasons starting from missing card from INEC office, lack of trust in the electoral process, misplaced and lost PVC, relocation from initial place of registration, diaspora status, then difficult process, and then registered but awaiting pickup or transfer to new location. And this seems to be the highest reasons for not having the PVC, but it's in the pipeline. It's they are hopeful, so I'm sure in a good time they will join the yes here, to make it up. So, but it's just good to know reasons why people are still do not have their PVCs. That will also help those who are campaigning for PVC uptake. Then for the last year says they were asked again if they voted in the 2019 presidential election, if they actually voted. So here, so it's called the voter turnout rates. Okay, but this voter turnout rate represents the participants only, the 107 participants only. So here, 64% of them say yes, they voted in the last presidential election. 36% of them said no, they did not vote. And we want to find the reasons why they didn't vote, and you can find it here again. Diaspora status, no PVC. PVC not provided by INEC office after registration, misplaced or lost PVC, registered but awaiting pickup again, and lack of trust in the electoral process, relocation from initial place of registration, health issues, fear of insecurity, distance to polling booths, not interested, on duty on election day, and no preference among the candidates presented. So this is good. We know all this. Like I said, this is more of a qualitative assessment. They provided their reasons in their own writings, their own words, but following the qualitative analysis, using the thematic analysis, these were the main headings that captured their reasons. Okay, and these are all placed here, so you can find the weight of their reasons, starting from the diaspora status, which is somehow saying that a lot of us that are leaving the country are actually living with the country's civic power, probably the civic power of the good citizens. That's what it's just trying to say. So the main challenges, like I mentioned, and limitations, there are a couple of other ones, added to this, but just to bring this to the fore, this says considered as a political, well, the survey was considered as a political content at this time, at the time of the survey. So most social media platforms declined promotion of this, even when it was paid for promotion, so it could reach, we can increase our reach, to reach more Nigerians. That's why we resorted to organic promotion, okay, and probably why we have had fewer people participating. Well, there are also people who just not used to online participation, they just wouldn't want to do that. Then again, we also have the issue of this sample size, which is relatively small, and we note that. Then limitation of online survey, on selective administration due to technology. We also recognize the fact that only those who have technology device and also in the social media platforms could participate in this survey. So other ones who do not have any of these accesses, of course, wouldn't be part of it. So we recognize that limitation, and we hope to make improvements in the next the way forward. So for here, you can get the full reports, and these are the headings, I mean the contents in the report, so you could look at them, and anyone you wish to, you just click on the link from the report, and it takes you directly there to look at the larger report as it is. Okay, because you can find it in the GUBERNATORIAL Africa website under the People's Choice page, or you can check the link that comes with this presentation depending on where you are seeing it. The link of the report will be attached to that, or will be provided. So you can just click on the link and get straight to the report. Okay, and so way forward, we are making room to encourage participations next time. We also want to be working hard on improving publicity, knowing fully well what it is right now. We didn't know about the politics policy, by the social media, many social media platforms, but now we understand that, so we could find ways of improving our publicity and improving our validation to minimize erroneous entries. Okay, we'll also work on that. So we are looking forward for pre-election polls close to the election period, and we hope that you will do well to be part of these polls. Let's see what we are and see how we can compare and contrast it with whatever be the outcomes of the election. So thank you so much, and wish you best of the electoral process as Nigerians are heading for 2023 election. Be part of that electoral process, be counted, and be part of the solutions for Nigeria. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.